MTV's taken a lot of flack over the years as it's evolved from a showcase for music videos into a reality TV haven in efforts to stay relevant with the wants of successive generations of young audiences. So that said, and assuming your thoughts on MTV are more introspective than they don't play music anymore, what's with the channel's schedule lately? It's starting to look like a dream Cartoon Network would have. Despite all the ridiculousness, it's not all that crazy. Not many viewers care all that much about scheduling outside of premieres, but among those of us that do, we've long lamented the slow death of any semblance of variety on linear air, with schedules, and networks even, becoming over-reliant on singular ratings draws. In kids TV, it's been a complaint with Nick viewers over SpongeBob for much of the last decade, and it's been a recurring complaint with Cartoon Network in recent years as well, though there are plenty of other examples. Weekday daytime on BBC America is basically exclusively Star Trek The Next Generation at this point. In mid-April 2021, the Relevant Schedule Chart Twitter account that posts about MTV tweeted the schedule for the week starting Monday the 19th, and it gained a lot of traction on social media for its stunning lack of variety. A considerable swath of the schedule comprises of airings of the network's long-running clip show Ridiculousness, where Rob Dyrdek and friends and guests showcase zany online video clips and share humorous stories. As a fan of the show, I've talked about it before in far greater detail, and that was over half an hour, so I won't repeat myself. Meanwhile, cue the complaints from people who don't watch MTV and likely aren't aware of it these days about how far the channel has supposedly fallen from one nearly arbitrary bygone era or another. To be fair to MTV, maintaining a television brand for 4 decades amongst a notably fickle demographic is no easy feat. Were they still under their original format, it's likely they'd be rendered obsolete. And to be even more generous to them, they still maintained it to a considerable capacity up until a few years ago in AMTV, and it still comprises a nominal hour of the channel's weekly lineup to this day, as fresh out playlist. If you care about MTV airing music, go watch that. And if you don't care about current music and want MTV to air the things you liked from days gone by, go watch MTV Classic, even though based on its ratings as a channel, you very clearly aren't. Also, they basically invented reality TV as we know it, so give them their credit where it's due, for better or for worse. And to stop being fair to MTV, this is a ludicrous amount of ridiculousness. But I think this schedule needs to be broken down somewhat to be fully understood. First, the situation is skewed somewhat by the fact that this schedule runs based off the TV day from 6 AM to 6 AM, and not the calendar day, which starts at midnight. Thus, a lot of the ridiculousness that paints the bottom of this schedule likely wouldn't be noticed much by viewers, as it's airing literally in the middle of the night. And in any case, this isn't even new. Ridiculousness has dominated the late evening lineup and into overnight for the last couple of years. It was one of the first conquests of this apparent takeover of the schedule. Further, the time slots between 3 AM and 10 AM are still branded as AMTV, and since the demise of the music videos that once bore the name, they generally have served as a largely monolithic programming block of their own, kicking off the marathon that runs through the rest of the day, 10 AM through primetime, or a block of a show that isn't the day's marathon. And of course, after said daytime marathon is the channel's core primetime premiere hours, usually between 8 and 10 PM, though the 7 o'clock hour has also seen use over the past 6 months. This is the last bastion of potential variety in the schedule of this particular week, with the week's new episodes spanning across 5 nights. In my experience, MTV has tended not to program Mondays. The fact that MTV still has a healthy number of ongoing original series like this should be appreciated. Many other channels operate on much less, and serve as a major strike against the idea that MTV is solely the Ridiculousness channel. This abundance of content has stayed pretty much constant over the past decade or so, so I doubt it's going anywhere anytime soon. With the context of how MTV has arranged its schedule in recent years, it helps to break down more of what's actually going on. This isn't the schedule of our discontent like on Cartoon Network. In fact, the only day Ridiculousness runs a full 24 hours is on the Sunday of this schedule. But when the AMTV block is Ridiculousness and the daily marathon is Ridiculousness and it's already airing in late evenings, not to mention its long-standing domination of weekends in general, which is a number of years old at this point, then it all adds up to a monolithic amount of Rob, Steelo, and Chanel in the lineup. So why does Ridiculousness air so much? 1. It's got broad appeal. Everyone can connect to someone falling down, getting hurt, or being weird, and the show's eclectic hosts and unique format are icing on the cake. And the more you watch it, the more you come to appreciate that. 2, it's a popular and consistent ratings draw for MTV. Not only does it rate well, but it keeps people coming back to watch more episodes, and thus more of the advertising in between them that MTV can then charge more for. Tanya Giles, general manager of the ViacomCBS department that includes MTV, revealed last summer to Variety that since adding more ridiculousness to the lineup, from Fridays to weekends to many Mondays and more recently late evenings and beyond, more viewers watched each week and more often. Quote, "We went from people coming 1 to 2 times a week to nearly 6 times a week to watch Ridiculousness. MTV keeps airing so much ridiculousness because you keep watching so much ridiculousness. And because you keep watching ridiculousness, MTV will keep airing ridiculousness. It's as simple as that. Don't complain when MTV is giving you exactly what you want. And third, ridiculousness is stupid cheap to make. Throw the trio into the studio, pay some licensing fees for the clips, and chances are you'll have an entire new season of the show done in about 2 weeks of filming, tops. Of course, I'm highly oversimplifying things, but it's not a high-end scripted drama. MTV should consider themselves lucky they have a hit show they can make economically at scale compared to many other types of series. That said, there are also a lot of movies on the schedule in this particular week. Honestly, too many. I know airing the same movie multiple times in the same day is a common practice for them, but why do we need to see the entire Friday trilogy twice back to back? On a Saturday, no less. I get having to flex the movie rights you've got for the month, but I've always felt that to be a bit much. But if you're tuning in during more reasonable hours on this particular week, you'd be about as likely to tune into a movie as Ridiculousness, and so it's not as entirely insane as some online made it out to be. That said, this is a bad schedule. Even for current MTV, and I'd say especially for current MTV. The channel has been struggling for variety in recent months, but the last time I'd argue they had much real semblance of it was back in mid-February, when they were running the Love Gone Wrong event week heading towards Valentine's Day, with movies plus Catfish the TV show and the similarly thematic Ghosted Love Gone Missing throughout daytime, with Ridiculousness ruling evenings and overnights. MTV used to be better at giving more of their shows reasonable amounts of airtime. A while back, the cadence had become daytime marathons with the currently airing Teen Mom franchise on Tuesdays, Catfish on Wednesdays, when the challenge wasn't in season, and one shore-related format or another on Thursdays, with Ridiculousness generally taking Fridays, weekends, overnights, and some Mondays, assuming there weren't movies planned for them. Usually, the daily marathon started with the AMTV slot at 3 a.m., giving the selected shows up to 17 hours of airtime on their selected day, leading into that evening's new episode. It's not the prettiest or most perfect system, but it worked well enough, and I feel MTV could get back to that again if they wanted to. Chances are the scheduling whims will swing back in that direction soon enough as they continue to fill with the lineup a little more each week. We're already starting to see that happening, with Tuesdays becoming home to the weird new combo of Catfish and Teen Mom 2, and the channel's 2 more recent traditional reality shows, Siesta Key and The Hills' New Beginnings, premiering and taking on Wednesday time slots. Hopefully all of MTV's shows get the scheduling exposure they deserve throughout the many upcoming weekly schedules in the future, and if they don't, then here's hoping it all eventually evens out. For more discussions of the world of television just like this, make sure you hit subscribe. If you want to learn more about why Ridiculousness works so well, along with probably more than you ever thought there could be to know about, watch my loving look at up here or down the description. I'm Benzie Johnson Jr., I'm enthusiastic about television, and I'll see you next time.